Greetings YouTube, Sega Zombie here and welcome to another video. Another response video. Well, kind of. This is a bit different. And basically what it is a 90s tag video. And basically it's 7 questions on the 90s. And it originated from the YouTuber Bucky749. And what it basically is you answer the 7 questions and then you tag 2 more YouTubers to respond. And Shockz16 has tagged me very kindly in this, and I was kind of like in 2 minds. I was like, wow, you know, the 90s is a bit of a weird decade for me because I was that much older. Yeah, believe it or not, this youthful appearance, I'm actually quite an older chap, and the 90s for me, if I'm being honest with you guys, was more finding out about the opposite sex. Yeah, sex, drugs and rock and roll, guys, it really was. I can answer loads of questions and talk fondly about the 90s on those subjects. And gaming, you know, because gaming was a big part of the 90s and music. But a lot of these questions I can't really answer in regards to the 90s. You know, my answers would be boring. You know, I was an older person, late teens, and I think it would be best, and I hope no one minds about this, and I hope Bucky749's cool with this, but I'm going to change it. Let's give us older, more mature YouTubers a chance at this, and I'm changing the decade. I'm going for the 80s, guys, just because I think my answers will be more genuine and more passion. You know, that's what all my videos are about, is about passion, and yeah, I think it's going to be better. So we're going to run with it, guys. Let's go. So question number 1 is your favourite cartoon you own on DVD. That is really easy for me. I have great memories of this cartoon. So many great cartoons in the 80s. And it's because I was at that age, you know. I was a younger child in the 80s. Hence why I've chose the decade of the 80s for this response video. And wow, you've got Transformers, you've got Mask, you've got He-Man, you've got Thundercats, Jason the Wheel Warriors, can you remember that, guys? Centurions, even the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they were late 80s. The list goes on and on and on. These are just ones off the top of my head, but ultimately I can remember rushing home from school to turn it on to BBC One, Children's BBC One, The Broom Cupboard. I believe it was Philip Schofield. It might have been Andy Crane. I can't remember. But I can just remember they used to play the jingle, put the words along the bottom, used to sing out to it. The memories come flooding back of this, guys. And I do own it on DVD. And that is Ulysses 31. What an absolutely amazing cartoon. It had an edginess, it had a darkness about it, and it was very different to a lot of the cartoons back then. I can remember in the very early 80s, and I believe it was a 70s cartoon, is Battle of the Planets, which would have been my second choice, but I believe that started in the 70s. And yeah, it's got to be Ulysses 31, an absolutely tremendous cartoon. I almost went for Dungeons and Dragons, but that cartoon never had an end. Whereas the Ulysses story did have an end. And yeah, that tips it for me. So yeah, Ulysses 31 is my choice for favourite cartoon. The next question, really easy this. Sega or Nintendo? Sega. Obviously, it's always going to be Sega. Sega is the best. Favourite console video game? This one's a really difficult one. It really is. It would be difficult in any decade growing up, to be fair. Equally just as difficult to answer in the 90s. But I'm going to go right back to the early 80s, and I'm going to say that the game that created me as a person, as a man now, and created my absolute love, and it captured my imagination in the whole love of video games, and it's going to have to be 3D Death Chase on the Spectrum. This game, I can remember, I know I've mentioned this in videos in the past, but I can remember being picked up from school, having a shitty day at school. I remember being upset about something, not sure what it was, and my mum said, when you get home, we've got something for the family and you're really going to like it. And I can remember walking into the living room and my dad had set up on a wooden desk a Spectrum and this game was playing. I was absolutely mesmerised by this game. The memories of 3D Death Chase, and it's a game I will quite often go back to, and I can remember putting loads of pictures up on social media of introducing this game to my children because I wanted them to play the first game their dad had ever played, and this is a really special game to me. And yeah, at the end of the day, I'm going on that fact that this game created Sega Zombie. This game created my love for everything to do with video games in general. So yeah, it's going to have to be 3D Death Chase. Fourth question, and I really wish I had these in my collection. It's something I'm going to have to do. I was big into comics. The question is your favourite comic. And again, this would not relate well into the 90s, hence why we've gone to the 80s. And I think my favourite comic of all time, it's a tough one. I love DC Comics. I loved 2000 AD a lot. And like the Beano, Dandy, all of that. All of us UK lads in the 80s grew up with those comic books. And I would say, though, the comic magazine, and it didn't run for very long, it branched from Eagle, I believe, and that is Scream. I wish I owned these in my collection. They're comics that I really have a lot of nostalgia for. I can remember I was in junior school and this magazine come out and it had free gifts like Dracula fangs and spider webs, and I was just obsessed with horror. I really was. Hammer horror. I loved all of that, and this comic just captured my imagination. It really did. I loved the artwork of it, and I can remember at school, junior school, I would sit there and draw the front cover of the Scream magazines, and it got me into art. It really did, and for that reason, I'm going with Scream magazine, guys. An absolutely fantastic comic. And it's something I'm hoping to track down, and I want to add it into the collection. 5. Your favourite pro wrestler? Again, this is another question I wouldn't be able to answer in the 90s because by then I was too old for wrestling, I think. I know people, that's not me being patronising in any way. Wrestling really isn't my thing. I'm more into boxing and stuff like that. And but I can remember at a very young age absolutely adoring spending time with my granddad. God rest his soul, you know, I loved my granddad to pieces, and he loved to watch World of Sport on a Saturday, I believe it was, and I used to sit there on his lap because he was the gentle giant, a massive hulk of a man. I used to sit there on his lap and we used to sit there and watch the wrestling on World of Sport, and you had the likes of Big Daddy, Giant Haystacks. You know, they were the two massive bodies in British wrestling. And for me, my favourite, because he scared me as well as intrigued me, and that is Kendo Nagasaki.
Kendo Nagasaki!
Says Dodorazio, you'll go out of the ring. Oh yes, caught him on the... Oh, caught him as he was coming past there for a body check. Kincaid trying a body check, and a bad cut on Kincaid's head. That forehead really sliced there by the foot, and Kincaid in trouble now. The kamikaze crash, there it is. A straight finger jab, yes, accurate in the posting. And a follow-up in a kamikaze crash position if he wants it. He's going for it, there it is.
Trouble for Bridges here, this is the Nagasaki special, and the follow-up cross press. Still in Nagasaki's corner. He hasn't gone back to the dressing room where he's supposed to be. There he is, standing right by the corner post there. This is the Nagasaki special, all the way over the top. Ooh.
And very weakened now, Nagasaki. But still the mask, only up as far as the top of the mouth, but a nice backhanded chop, the follow-up, illegal.
The greatest wrestler in my mind ever. And yeah, so for me, I'm going for British wrestling, and I'm going Kendo Nagasaki. Next up, again, a really easy question, this one, for the 80s. I was massively into music in the 90s. I was a roadie for a few quite well-known bands, and I used to be the t-shirt guy, and I had a blast on the music scene back in the 90s. Maybe there's some stories to tell in future videos, but I was massive into the heavy metal scene and some of the more extreme bands of the time in the 90s, because it was a massive movement. And yeah, my love for heavy metal, that kind of music, come about in the 80s again, and I was a really young lad, and I can remember my uncle giving me a record player and some records, and one of those records was Iron Maiden's Number of the Beast CD, vinyl single, 7-inch single. And what I can show off, guys, is the original jacket I had back then. Unfortunately, it hasn't got Number of the Beast artwork on it, but the artwork to Number of the Beast, all the Iron Maiden stuff, like, look at that. I was just absolutely amazed by the artwork of the albums. A bit like with video games, I suppose. You know, back then it was really important for artwork and cover art to capture your imagination. And in the 80s, albums done that really well because you had the big record sleeve. And I was blown away by Iron Maiden. And the song I'm choosing, like I've just said, is Number of the Beast, because that's the first Iron Maiden song I ever heard, and to this day I still can sing you every word. Not very well. I'm no Bruce Dickinson, and I absolutely adore Iron Maiden. I've seen them live many times, and yeah, they're part of me growing up. Iron Maiden, guys. So yeah, that is my choice for the best song and music video. I really enjoyed the Iron Maiden Number of the Beast video. All very satanic and horror based, so yeah, loved it. And then finally, question 7, guys, is your favourite action TV show. And again, you're absolutely spoilt for choice in the 80s. You had Knight Rider, Street Hawk, I remember fondly, Blue Thunder, was it? Yeah. Manimal, I remember really liking that. Metal Mickey, another program I love. Supergram, I love that too. There's so many great TV shows, and I'm gonna go with the A-Team.
In 1972, a crack commando unit was sent to prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped from a maximum security stockade to the Los Angeles underground. Today, still wanted by the government, they survive as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A-Team.
A-Team. I had the toys. I adored the TV series. It's got to be the A-Team, guys. Loved all the characters. You had B.A. Baracus, the big brute. You had the Mad Murdoch. You had Hannibal, which was the intelligent, strategic guy. You know, and you had Face, the charmer. You know, and it was just an absolutely amazing TV series. I adored the A-Team all the way through. I never got tired of it. And yeah, there are my 7 questions messing up this 90s tag into an 80s tag. But I hope you guys can see why I've done that, just to give us older tubers a try. Guys, in the description, I'm going to leave a link to Bucky 749's original video. And I'm also going to leave a link to Shockz16's video for the 90s tag. I'm going to tag 2 YouTubers. I've not asked if they want to do it. I'm just going to put it out there. And I'm going to nominate 2 to UK and Alex Nintendo Arcade. I'm going to nominate those 2 guys. But I'm going to leave it open for anyone. Anyone that grew up in the 80s and as a YouTuber. Come on. Give me your answers. I want to see what your 7 answers would be to these questions of the best things that, or what means the most to you in the 80s. Until the next time, guys, I'm Sega Zombie. Goodbye.